When we hear of graphically violent, cruel crimes, we're equally fascinated and disgusted. The most common response is to label these people as evil and demand retribution so that they might experience the same suffering that they have inflicted. But when we discard emotion and delve into the histories of the people and acts we call evil, we find that both our manner of viewing such behavior and addressing it are flawed. True evil describes acts, not people. So even those who exhibit evil behavior should be offered a chance at rehabilitation. And if this is impossible, then they should receive life in prison without parole. Evil is a reaction we have to horrific acts. In his book, The Anatomy of Evil, Dr. Michael Stone offers what he calls a working definition of evil. Evil is a word we apply to situations or specific acts that have the quality of horrifying or shocking whoever witnesses or hears about these acts. His lack of mentioning the people who commit these acts in his definition is purposeful. To label a person as such, they would have to do evil things habitually and often. There's no support that someone like that exists. Even most serial killers are perfectly helpful and pleasant neighbors in the daylight. We may be able to judge an act, but the conclusions we draw about calling people cannot be as black and white as evil. Calling a person evil gives the impression that one is born evil or born good. Again, the idea that one can be born evil is entirely unfounded. Quite to the contrary, there is evidence that we are born good. Yale's Baby Lab ran a study in which they determined babies' preference for the good character or bad character in a puppet show. At only 3 months old, 87% of the babies reached for the good character, showing that they already had a rudimentary sense of justice. This sense of justice persists throughout the majority of people's lives, and only for an unfortunate few is it skewed by an awful combination of attitude, upbringing, and circumstance. No one person is born evil, grows up evil, and lives their life simply being evil. Therefore, true evil is reserved for acts of ultimate and excessive horror. Unfortunately, our society must still handle the people who commit such outrageous acts. We do so through our justice and prison systems, but methods within those systems are often far from ideal. Simply stated, the purpose of prisons is to make the outside world safer. For cases involving evil acts, prison means a lengthy sentence peppered with solitary confinement and gross mistreatment, primarily focused on punishment. Prisons will be far more successful in reducing recidivism and fulfilling their purpose if they instated active rehabilitation programs. Even with violent crime, the numbers show that rehabilitation is possible. In his article, Punishment Fails, Rehabilitation Works, James Gilligan explains how with violent male offenders in San Francisco jails, it only took 4 months of an intensive re-educational program to reduce the frequency of violent reoffending by 83%.